Have you ever really stopped to think about what's flowing through your veins? I mean, it's easy to just think of blood as, that red liquid, but it is so much more than that. It's actually a super complex and totally critical life support system. It's like a river of life flowing inside you, and today we're going to take a journey down that river to see what makes it so essential. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. It's simple, it's powerful, and it is the absolute truth. It is the foundation of our biology. Every single system, every organ, every cell in your body depends on it. So really, understanding blood is understanding the very essence of how we stay alive. So to really get a handle on what blood does, it helps to think of it as having three massive jobs. It's kind of like your body's personal delivery service, its own internal climate control system, and a 24/7 security force all rolled into one. So how does it pull all this off? Well, first up, distribution. It's like a microscopic courier, zipping oxygen from your lungs and nutrients from your food to where they need to go, all while hauling away the waste. Second, there's regulation. Blood is the ultimate thermostat, keeping your body temperature just right, balancing your pH, and making sure your fluid levels are perfect. And third, protection. This is your frontline defense man. It prevents blood loss when you get a cut, and it fights off infections. Okay, so we know what blood does, but what is it actually made of? It's not just one thing, not at all. It's a whole team, a specialized crew that makes all this constant life-sustaining work possible. So let's meet the crew. It's pretty amazing how a simple lab procedure can show you what blood is really made of. If you take a sample of blood and spin it really fast in a machine called a centrifuge, the force actually separates the blood into its different parts based on how heavy they are. And here's what you get. Look at that! More than half of your blood, 55%, is this yellowish liquid called plasma. Almost all of the rest, about 45%, is made of red blood cells. And see that tiny, thin little layer in the middle? That's called the buffy coat. It's less than 1% of your blood, but don't let that fool you. That's where all your white blood cells and platelets are hanging. So, let's break down this crew a little more. Plasma, that's the fluid highway that everything else travels on. The red cells? They're the dedicated oxygen couriers. The white cells are your security patrol, constantly on the lookout for invaders. And the platelets? Well, they're the emergency repair team, rushing in to plug any leaks. Now, this is where things get really personal, because not all blood is the same. Those red blood cells are little oxygen trucks. They wear different identifying markers on their surface, almost like tiny uniforms. And these markers are what determine your blood type. Mix the wrong types, and you can trigger a really dangerous immune reaction. And that reaction has a specific name: agglutination. What happens is, if your body gets blood with markers it doesn't recognize, your immune system basically goes on high alert and attacks. Your antibodies grab onto the foreign cells, causing them to clump all together. This clumping can clog up your blood vessels, which, as you can imagine, can be fatal. This is exactly why blood transfusions need such careful matching. So these little markers are called antigens, and the two most important systems we use for classifying them are the ABO system and the rhesus or RH system. What's really cool is that people with type AB blood have both A and B antigens on their cells, so their bodies don't see either type as foreign. This makes them universal recipients. They can receive blood from any ABO type. That second system, the RH factor, is incredibly important, especially during pregnancy. Here's the deal. If an RH-negative mom is carrying an RH-positive baby, some of the baby's blood can mix with hers, usually during birth. Her immune system sees that RH marker as a foreign invader and starts making antibodies against it. Now, that's not a problem for the first baby. But if she gets pregnant again with another RH-positive baby, those antibodies she already made can cross the placenta and attack the new baby's red blood cells. It's a serious situation, but luckily, modern medicine has a treatment to stop this from ever happening. Okay, let's switch gears and look at one of blood's most amazing superpowers: self-repair. We've all had a cut or a scrape, right? Well, what actually happens in that moment? Your blood kicks off this incredible multi-stage emergency response to plug the leak. It's truly mind-blowing. The official sciencey term for this whole process is hemostasis, and it's not just one thing that happens. It's a super fast, perfectly coordinated series of reactions that kicks into gear the instant a blood vessel gets damaged. And it all happens in 3 quick phases. Step 1 is the vascular spasm. The muscles in the wall of the blood vessel immediately clamp down to make the opening smaller and slow down the bleeding. Then, step 2, platelet plug formation. Remember our repair crew, the platelets? They suddenly become super sticky and swarm the injury, forming a temporary plug. And finally, step 3 is coagulation, the process of forming a tough, durable blood clot that'll last. Okay, I know this diagram looks crazy complicated, and honestly, the biochemistry behind it is pretty intense. But the main idea is actually straightforward. Coagulation is basically a chain reaction, like a cascade of dominoes, where proteins activate other proteins in a specific sequence. And the end goal of this whole cascade is to create these tiny, sticky protein strands that form a strong mesh, kind of like a net that traps blood cells and seals the wound shut for good. But here's the thing. This incredible system relies on a perfect balance. And when that balance is off, when the clotting process doesn't work the way it's supposed to, it can lead to some really serious disorders that involve excessive, dangerous bleeding. And this system can fail in a couple of different ways. For instance, in hemophilia, the problem is that the body is missing a key protein in that whole coagulation cascade we just saw. Without that protein, the mesh net just can't form properly. But in thrombocytopenia, the problem isn't a missing protein, it's that there aren't enough platelets, the very cells you need to form that first plug. So, 2 different problems, but the same dangerous outcome. And it's not always about genetics or having the right number of cells. Sometimes it comes down to nutrition. A simple vitamin K deficiency can mess up the whole clotting process because several of those crucial protein factors in the cascade actually need vitamin K to work. It's just a powerful reminder of how interconnected everything in our body really is. So, as we wrap things up here, let's just quickly recap the big stuff. Blood has 3 main jobs, right? Distribution, regulation, and protection. It's made up of a specialized crew: plasma, red cells, white cells, and platelets. And finally, knowing your blood type and your body's amazing ability to clot are both absolutely critical for survival. Think about it. Every single second of every single day, this complex, beautiful symphony is playing out inside you, perfectly orchestrated, and you don't even have to give it a single thought. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other hidden miracles are happening inside you right now just to keep you alive?